You know that feeling, right? That constant, kind of exhausting effort to keep everything under control. But what if that very effort, what if that's the thing that's actually holding you back?
So let's just start with a pretty big idea. It's a statement that really cuts against a lot of the advice we get about, planning and preparing for every little thing in our lives.
And here's the other side of that coin. Because the more you try to control every single detail, the less you actually feel in control of yourself. The real path to feeling stable isn't a tighter grip, it's actually a deeper sense of trust.
And this brings us right to something I call the control paradox. It's that super frustrating cycle where the harder we try to feel secure, the more anxious we actually end up feeling.
I mean, think about it. Does this sound like you? You've got something big coming up, a project, a tough conversation, maybe just a really busy week. So you get to work. You make lists, you make schedules, you plan everything. And it's not just about the logistics, is it? You play out the entire thing in your head. You think about what could go wrong. You prep for every scenario. You try to cover every single base.
You put in all that work, all of that mental energy, and yet,
that feeling just creeps in anyway. That little knot in your stomach. After all that effort to get rid of the uncertainty, you somehow feel even more anxious than when you started.
And that right there, that's the paradox. No matter how much you prepare, it just never feels like enough. There's always one more what if, right? Something you missed. So you try even harder, you grip even tighter, and it only makes things worse.
So, if this whole cycle is so self-defeating, why do we do it? What's really driving this powerful need to control everything? Let's take a quick look at the anatomy of this anxiety.
Well, the thing is, this behavior isn't random. It's something we've learned. It all starts with our basic instincts. Our brains are just wired to see uncertainty as a threat. And then, life happens. We learn that being unprepared can have some pretty rough consequences. So we make what feels like a logical choice. We decide we have to try to stay ahead of everything, all the time.
But this is where we get to the real heart of it all. Because that whole strategy, staying ahead of everything, it's based on a huge misunderstanding. Let's pull back the curtain on the great illusion.
And this right here is the critical shift in how we see things. We pour all of our energy into trying to solve what we think is the problem, this big, unpredictable, uncertain world out there. But the real issue, it isn't external at all. It's internal. It's not trusting our own ability to handle that uncertainty when it shows up.
So here's the bottom line. Total control is an illusion. It just is. You can't plan your way out of every single challenge life throws at you. Life doesn't really care how prepared you are. It cares about how you adapt. Your real strength isn't in preventing bad things from happening, but in trusting that you can handle whatever comes. So if trying to control everything isn't the answer, then what is? Let's talk about the powerful, stabilizing alternative, self-trust. So what is self-trust, really? It's not about being arrogant or thinking you'll always have the perfect answer. It's a quiet, grounded confidence. It's the simple, powerful belief that you have what it takes to handle what comes your way.
I mean, just think about how freeing that is for a second. That constant need to manage every single detail, that's just a symptom. When you start building that inner foundation of trust, the need to control the outside world just starts to fade.
This is the feeling we're after. It's shifting your inner voice from, I have to stop anything bad from happening, to something more like, whatever happens, I'll figure it out. That is where real, genuine calm comes from. Okay, so this all sounds good, but how do we actually do it? What does it look like to start walking down this path from control to trust? Let's map out a simple way forward. After looking at this whole paradox, it's worth asking, right? What is the actual goal here? Where should we be putting our energy?
Well, we definitely know what the goal isn't. It's not to become a better planner. It's not to find some new system to manage all the variables. That's just the same old path that keeps you stuck.
The real goal is actually much simpler and maybe a little bit braver. It's about practicing letting go. Not all at once, nothing scary, just a little bit. Just enough to prove to yourself that you are, in fact, okay with that iron grip. So really, this is the choice in front of us. The path of control is a loop. It keeps you stuck in that same cycle of planning and anxiety. But the path of trust, that one moves. That's what actually lets you step into the future. And that's really the idea I want to leave you with. Control is about holding on so tightly that you can't even move. But trust Trust is about having the quiet confidence to open your hand and step into the unknown. Because control will always keep you stuck. But trust, that's what moves you forward.